Here, getting ready to bring to you, to the masses, another Mega Man 2 Randomizer Tournament race. This time we're heading up, getting close to the end of match of the Group C Group C set of runners, as McBobX and Charlieboy are going to be duking it out for. Actually, for McBobX, he won't be racing for much, as McBobX has already secured his ways into the bracket phase, currently at 2-0. Meanwhile, Charlieboy, he has a little bit more at stake, as he's in 1-0. A win for him today will wind up getting him right into the brackets and will put a dent in McBob's perfect record. So, as we are getting our runners set up, once again, this is the Speedgaming Live 2023 version of this randomizer tournament, being organized by Siberian Bull 9 this time around, and we're hoping for a very good race. To me, this is probably going to be one of the races to look out for, because this is an interesting dynamic because of the fact that we got runners that are familiar with both sides of the Mega Man 2 side of the coin, as both our runners have given the ready. Gonna let them loose. Give me a quick moment. The countdown is underway, barring some stream delay. We should be up and ready to go. But as I was saying at first, this is an interesting dynamic because we got McBobX here, as you see on your left. Very, very seasoned Mega Man 2 vanilla zipless runner, but he's relatively new to the randomizer, and seeing his races so far, while he has been he's undefeated right now, he showed that he has a little bit of adjusting to the randomizer to do, but for the most part he's been handling himself pretty well. Meanwhile, Charlieboy, multi-time organizer of several tournament events, as we are underway and both our runners doing their respective starts, Flashman on McBob's and the Quickman on the other side. Charlieboy is very, very familiar with the randomizer, but has done a small number of zipless runs in vanilla, so it's like both of these runners are experienced on both ends of the spectrum. So I think this is a very, very even race for both our runners. But for right now, McBobX is getting pummeled by the enemy so far in Flashman. Ooh, with invincible fan fiends, and that would explain quite a bit of why this has been a very rough scenario. Opted to take the reset to try to get himself refreshed in another stage, and opts to go to quick. So fortunately, that puts McBobX in a very, very rough position. Unfortunately, he also decided to reset his timer as well. Fortunately, we do have the race time app back, so we will be keeping up with times via the racetime.gg. So don't worry if things look a bit off on each runner's sides. Meanwhile, Charlieboy, not having trouble with the Quickman stage, is about to go to the Quickman boss door, and we're going to see what's going to be the first Robot Master in appearance. And it's going to be a Bubble Man this time around. Very high bubbles, so should be generally easy to dodge the bubbles, but Charlieboy getting a little pummeled. Bubble Man being a little bit durable, but bubbles down, and we get an auto 1 for our trouble. So Charlieboy with a little bit of an early advantage as he goes to Flashman with those invincible fan fiends. We're gonna see how Charlieboy is gonna be able to handle those, and if he even has a weapon to deal with it. So there's our fan fiend sighting. He sees the Tink, immediately goes to the weapon, and he has. Looks like we found ourselves Metal Blaze. The Metal Blaze tears through them, literally like a hot knife through butter, including the Joes. The Charlieboy already with a definite advantage thanks to randomizer luck, which is always going to be a thing in these kinds of situations. Meanwhile, McBobX taking the fight to Bubble Man should be on his way out in a moment, and there he goes. Bubble Man down and Item 1 in tow. Is he gonna go back to Flash for a second chance, or is he gonna go somewhere else, trying to get a little bit more of an ammo supply before moving on? And yes, he does. So McBobX is opting to go to Bubble Man now. Charlieboy dealing with crabs on his way trying to get the Z-Tank. Gonna check for wall weaknesses here, and ooh, everything is coming up Charlieboy very early. Finding out that Metal Blaze is our wall weakness, so that's information already down very early for Charlieboy. Meanwhile, we got a Metal Man fight. A little annoying, durable to the Buster, but unless he should be able to win the damage race still. And there you go, Metal Man down on Charlieboy's end. No items in store, and now he's just pretty much just following suit where McBobX is going to Bubble. Of course, thanks to the reset to the unfortunate enemy decisions of this seed, McBobX is still a robot master behind, as the aquatic life just decides to swarm all over McBob. So in this case, we're gonna have McBob being the first one to check out who's gonna be in Bubble Man's room very shortly, as Charlieboy begins this fight in Bubble Man's stage. So McBob is about to find out who's gonna be in Bubble Man's room, and we got ourselves a Woodman sighting. And the Metal Blade looks like it's doing the business, at the very least soft weakness strength. So that takes care of Bubble Man. Do we get an item? No, we do not. Bubble Man stays down. After to go to air. Very risky without any items. This is one of the more dangerous stages to go, pretty much almost raw. But we're gonna see if the randomizer enemy placement is gonna be a little bit more friendly. Right now it's a bunch of shotmen. Oh, McBobX is failing to recover, getting shot down by the shotmen. Using the pause buffering to try to take care of the knockback cancel, but just wasn't able to recover. Taking a nasty fall. Meanwhile, Charlieboy is about to face our Woodman. He's gonna check Buster first, see if there's a Buster weakness here. And indeed we do have a Buster weakness. That's a little bit of extra information that McBob won't have since he's stuck with the Metal Blaze. Remember, there are 4 Robot Masters in this seed that are susceptible to the Buster. We were able to find our first one in Wood, as Charlieboy does go to Woodman's stage. With the enemy set, not too bad, because often use the Metal Blaze to mow through the Joes and mow down the wheels for my Pyrobots. And right now, Charlieboy is making close acquaintances with the Metal Blaze, using it to destroy just about any and everything in its path. Metal Blaze being more than broken than its already vanilla self, just with a little bit of a acute angle in terms of diagonal movement. So as McBobX tries to safely go through the rest of Airman stage, about to go to the Airman boss door, a little worse for wear, but should be able to handle himself. Hopefully has enough life to take a death if need be. As we found a vanilla air, it immediately pops the E-Tank to make sure for survivability. But Airman is not being much of a bro. Pretty much having tornadoes literally shooting him along the way, but he is soft Buster weak, So once he was vulnerable, it was a pretty quick fight on McBobX's end, and we get an item 3. So right now we already got item 1 and item 3. Is it gonna go to Crash? Nope, he think he has enough weapons finally to go back to the stage that failed him earlier and forced to reset. So it's back to Flash, and he should have plenty of weaponry to go through the actual stage, and it looks like he has the Metal Blaze already set up, and yep, pretty sure you're gonna make close friends with the Metal Blaze throughout the entirety of Flash. Meanwhile, we got a Crashman sighting in Woodman's boss room, susceptible to a buster, so a very quick fight for Charlieboy. As Woodman's stage is completed, do we find item 2? Not yet. But Charlieboy is making a very early move towards Crash. I mean, to a Heatman stage. Gonna see if I made a miscalculation early. He has item 2 already in place and I missed it. But I'm pretty sure I made sure that to keep track of our runner's progress. And he does not have item 2 available at the current moment. So it's gonna be forced to he's gonna be forced to deal with the Yoku blocks. He has Metal Man early. I'm surprised he didn't do Metal Man early at this point to help with some of the areas later on in the game. Meanwhile, McBobX about to go through the Crashman doors to find a Metal Man in wait. She's gonna opt to search for a weapon. We do know that it's not South Week 2 the Buster, but it looks like Alicia's gonna be doing the job, and it does enough to quickly dispatch the Metal Man, and we'll have him to move on from there. So we're gonna go through familiar territory with Woodman stage on McBobX's end. Meanwhile, Charlieboy once again without item 2 found. He's forced to do the Yoku blocks legit. We're gonna see if he made the right decision and item 2 is in here. Otherwise, Charlieboy may have himself a little bit of a chance of time loss if item 2 is found elsewhere. But we do have a vanilla Heatman as an interesting looking Pikachu in wait. And we find that Air Shooter is Air Shooter is definitely the weakness here. One more shot, and down goes our Pika Heat. Is our item 2 here? No! That means if McBobX is capable of finding item 2 elsewhere a little earlier, he probably can save a little bit of time on Charlieboy. And with the early reset, McBob is gonna need all the extra time he's gonna get to try to catch Charlieboy, who's once again still has that one Robot Master lead at the current moment. Charlieboy making his way to Crash. Does have item 1. Don't think he has item 3. I believe item 3 was found in air. Not having found air yet. Ooh, a surprise shrimp to the face. Pretty much gonna use the pause buffer to negate the damage. One of the worst enemies normally in a randomizer, thanks to the changes we made to some of the coding within the randomizer, one of which is the pause buffer, which will cancel knockback when you pause and unpause. Ladder barriers in Crash, like rabbits and shrimp, they pose less of a problem, but unfortunately you will have to be forced to take damage in order to continue on. Meanwhile, McBobX taking on the Crashman in Wood Room, realizing that is the Buster Week fight. And there he goes out of the Woodman stage. McBobX having all of the items needed to make Crashman fast is gonna take care of Crashman right now. Charlieboy not having item 3 in tow, hoping to make use of item 1 and making the climb on the right side to try to make that area faster. but our enemies aren't making it that easy. Once again, Charlieboy using the item 1 to try to get by the areas quick, get the crash climb done as quickly as possible. Using literally every inch of the item 1 to try to get by, and should be heading towards the crash room in relative short order. We have a handful of Robot Masters away. I know Flash is one of them. Should be flashing quick remaining for our last 2 seen Robot Masters. Flashman giving Charlieboy a little bit of fits, forcing him to take the juice box, and Flash is down in crash, and item 2 is still MIA. That means, thanks to process of elimination, Metal Man stage holds our item 2. Both our runners holding it off. So Charlieboy will have item 2 for air, and McBob, if he opts to go to Metal Man early before going to heat, will have item 2 for heat and save a little bit of time in that regard. But for right now, we got Charlieboy going through metal, as I now switched audio to our leading player. We got Charlieboy just going through the metal stage, which looks pretty simple in the early goings. Not too bad of an enemy set, but let's see what the second half has in store. But I'm pretty sure it'll be nothing that Charlieboy can't handle. Once again, it's a dynamic that Charlieboy is, while has zipless experience, is more experienced with what the randomizer can throw at him. Meanwhile, McBobX, who is known for his vanilla game zipless prowess, seems that still has a little bit of adjustments to how the randomizer can pretty much toss at him, as you saw with the very early reset in Flash. Charlieboy finishing off the rest of Metal. About to see who's in Metal Room. Should be Quick. We have not seen Quick Man yet. And indeed, it is our sprite change Quick. It was a little bit of a tanky boy, but Charlieboy should easily win the damage race, and that should be the metal stage done, and should be our item 2. And that confirms it, item 2 in Charlieboy's possession, and he goes straight to Airman stage. So we're gonna see how Charlieboy decides to make use of that item 2 in Airman stage, as once again he has to deal with the Buster Immune Mets. Trying to make use of that pause buffer and use the item 2 for the first part of Airman stage. I'm more of a fan of using the item 2 in the first area only if the enemy set seems rough enough to warrant it. This is not too bad of an enemy set, but the fact of the matter is just having item 2 at all for Airman stage just makes it so much easier to deal with. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm more of a second half item 2 user for air. Meanwhile, McBobX is about to go to the Quick Man fight in Metal Man's room. Shouldn't have too much trouble. Is he gonna search for a weapon, or is he gonna stick with the Buster? It looks like he's gonna stick with the Buster, going with the damage race. Just barely scraping by though, but that is Metal Man down and item 2 in his possession as well. It's got Heat Man left. McBobX making quite a bit of time in spite of the reset. I will almost argue that the amount of time difference could be just that reset. No, it's not just the reset. I forgot that McBobX did die in air earlier, so it's a little bit more than that. So yeah, it's gonna be by the time Charlieboy wins, gets by the fight in air, it's probably gonna be about 2/3 of a stage advantage, maybe going to the Wally stages. But yep, that's air down. Item 3 finally in possession for Charlieboy. And we are done with the 8 robos. So as we get our sighting of who is going to be our antagonist for the day, which is Dr. Light, where you have a headcanon that Dr. Light has gone rogue, or Dr. Light has decided to test Mega Man, or Proto Man in this regard, being Charlieboy's sprite, and testing him out, giving him a new challenge in the castle of his own. Regardless, Dr. Light is our Wally analog for this seed, and since we do have a Wally sighting, it's that time again. We got a game we love to play in the Mega Man 2 Randomizer community. We have ourselves a little bit of a game where we like to guess the color, the weakness, and the sprite of our Mecha Dragon that's coming up. So while you're guessing that weakness and color, we have several sprites for you to guess. For those that aren't in the know for the randomizer, of course we have a vanilla dragon. We have a bit of a squinty-eyed dragon. It looks like pointy-eye shades, but we actually have more of a actual shades-looking dragon, kind of like 80 shades. You know when you see it. But we also have a dragoncorn, a dragon with a unicorn horn. One of our popular guesses, the Oats dragon, and a pure swag dragon. For my guess, I'm gonna guess one of my favorites. I'm gonna hopefully get a grayscale dragon, as he is down on McBobX's end. Following suit, going to our Dr. Light castle. But yes, we're gonna go for a grayscale dragon that's gonna be 80 shades. It's gonna be weak to heat, especially with our supercharged heat that we have. Nope, but we got ourselves that look like a violet dragon, but that's our dragoncorn here. Oh, we got crash bombs as one of the weaknesses. The dragon does have 2 weaknesses, but the second page pretty much being the deal, and crash bombs is our weakness for one of our weaknesses. We're gonna see if McBobX follows suit when McBobX fights the dragon in his own right. Meanwhile, we got Charlieboy starting the second stage of Wally. We don't have to worry about wall weaknesses. Both our runners found that Metal Blaze is the wall weakness. Charlieboy already did it way early in Flash. McBobX did it towards the end of the 8 robos, checking it in Heatman stage. So both our runners do have access to the goodies that Charlieboy passed up. Usually Charlieboy's MO to skip the walls regardless, but Charlieboy already has the information, so he just decides to move on. Meanwhile, McBobX about to do the final climb en route to the dragon. See if he opts to use Crash as the weakness as well. Charlieboy having a little issue with the item 3. Off to pause, buffer, and reset. Once again, thanks to the new coding, we can actually remove our weapons while they're on screen on pause, so you can have easy access to quick reset. And for our Pico sprite of the day, which is Buster Week, Charlieboy is probably happy on that regard. Is our sprite being the Pico monster. Meanwhile, McBobX not taking second page. It finds a second weakness in Leaf Shield, in which I think in this case, I think we would rather have Crash Bombs to be used for weakness. Unfortunately, as runners, we have a habit of not changing weapons if we find even one weakness, especially when it comes towards Wally boss fights. So once again, with the stage advantage, Charlieboy is going to Continue on in Wally Stage 3, see what color waters we have. Ooh, we got grayscale. Dr. Light's been feeding gruel to the inhabitants of this portion of the castle. McBobX doing the usual item to fly, about to continue on in earnest, hoping to try to get as close to Charlieboy as possible. But like I said, it's a case of being a veteran of the rando. Charlieboy just has more of a mental advantage, knowing and prepping for what the randomizer has in store, and a little bit of luck considering that he didn't do Flashman first unlike McBob. So Gust Tank is not weak to Buster, so we got the weakness hunt. It looks like we find Bubble as our weakness for the Gust Tank this seed. Charlieboy quickly dispatches our Gust Tank and is making his way to Wally Stage 4. Meanwhile, McBob, if he sticks with the Buster and doesn't search for weaknesses, he should have an easy fight with the Pico units. Charlieboy starting the climb in Wally Stage 4. There are a couple of changes here. First and foremost, are vanishing platforms for a couple of screens, like the one that Charlieboy is about to come up to right now, and the one that's in the immediate screen after. Their fake platforms are randomized. And of course, since this is Wally Stage 4, we're gonna have to worry about which enemies are in our moving platform rooms, of which we wonder if they are gonna be true anxiety rooms, or if they're gonna just be empty rest stops. McBob dispatching of the Twitch Picos, going to Wally Stage 3. And right now, the area is looking pretty tame. We got prop tops, but it's definitely not the most threatening enemies that could be in this area. They could definitely damage boost and do item 1 strats if Charlieboy so chooses. Nope, it's even better. Literally a rest stop. No one's around for the final screen. Pardon me. But anyway, with the moving platforms out of the way, Charlieboy making the beeline towards the final stretch of Wally Stage 4. About to see what the Pico, not the Pico, but the Boo Bean turret weaknesses are gonna be. Once again, Charlieboy does have the knowledge that the Metal Blades are the wall weakness, and he uses it immediately, destroying all the walls that are in the way. Already tested Leaf Shield to see if it's a proper weakness, and now I'm gonna search for the remaining weakness for the turrets themselves. It looks like it's Quick Boomerang this scene. As a reminder, the wall weakness and the turrets are never the same weakness, just for the sake of fairness and ammo consumption. As Charlieboy makes short work of the turrets and is on our way to our boss rush. McBobX meanwhile is starting up Wally Stage 4. Once again, trying to make as much time as humanly possible, as Charlieboy pretty much once again just making this seed his race. And we've got some Final Fantasy II Battle 1 music for our boss rush theme of the day, well, of the seed. Finding air shooter to make the heat fight all the more quicker. Although the randomness of the invulnerabilities kind of dragged it out a little bit. McBobX finishing off the moving platform rooms, use item 2 to get by the second to last and last screens. going to fight the booby turrets in short order. Charlieboy take the safety route. Getting a little bit beaten up by Quick, taking the E-Tank. Halfway done with our robos. 4 down, 4 to go. Crouch's jump distance, beating up Charlieboy just a smidge, but not enough to hinder him. Next up, Metal. Metal goes down. McBob having a little bit of issue, got a little bit stubborn. Check it out, heat for the turrets. One more to go for Charlieboy. And it's our Buster-B Crash. Should be taken care of short order as we go to the Light Machine this time. Once again, every single Wily boss has a slight chance to be weak to the Buster, but the odds of being Buster for the Wily Machine is much lower than past. And it's definitely not in this seed. So we're searching for weakness. Will he find our God weakness that is weak to both phases? Or is he going to be searching for weaknesses in between phases? Okay, we found Metal for the first phase. Is it going to be weak for the second phase? No, he did not. Also take the juice tank, the juice can, but did indeed fight Crash for our second weakness here. And it might be by process of elimination since he did do the first page completely for the first phase of the Wily Machine. I mean the Light Machine. I'm pretty certain that the Crash Bombs is the pure weakness for both phases. Not that it matters because the end justifies the means. Charlieboy is in victory road here. About to face our alien. One alien, one weakness. We're about to find out which weakness is going to be the alien this time. Of course, we can always eliminate Flash. Flash will never be a weakness for any Wily boss. And we got a butt-ugly Wily alien here. That is Buster weak. This is going to be a fast fight. As McBob takes a death on Quick. We're going to see McBobX decides to keep going or forfeit. Meanwhile, Charlieboy, in a blistering pace, finishes the seed in official time of 30 minutes and 25 seconds. GG's to Charlieboy. In the meanwhile, McBob looks like he's opting not to forfeit. Just want to complete the seed to have a little bit of confidence booster, especially considering the rough early start. As DJ Metalman decides to flip the script and change the music. Goodbye Final Fantasy II music. Return Revenge of Meta Knight. Metalman having this interesting little quirk where he can actually change the boss rush music. Still a little quirk, but we're glad we have it. Some glitches can be fun. But yeah, McBobX has one more Robot Master to deal with. And now it's on to our Light Machine, who's definitely weak to Crash on both phases, but we know that Metal is a weakness for the first phase. I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna find that first. Probably finds the Metal after take the E-Tank. Checks, is he gonna keep on the pace? Ooh, Nope, you're gonna wind up just finding the second page weakness. It looks like it's charged heat for the second phase. So we have found all weaknesses for heat. I mean, for the bottle machine. So all that's left is for McBob to finish off the scene, take on our alien, which is beat to the Buster. Doing a little bit of inventory check for his weapons. McBob does have the usual protocol of checking weapons and going to the left to fill up any weapons that he may be low of in case that it is the one weakness. But Charlieboy, being the more aggressive, normally goes straight for the Wally, the alien fight, hoping that is not the case, that it would have been a weakness to begin with. McBobX opting for second page strats. We already know that's not the case. Finally finds the Buster. And the alien should be done in short order. Just one more pop. And there we go. GG's to both our runners. McBobX finishes with a 33-54. But once again, it's Charlieboy with a much faster seed to go up 1-0 in our best of 3 in this Group C matchup. So while our boys get set up for our next race, we're going to take a little bit of a breather, and we should be getting up for our second race in a moment. And we are back. Both our runners are pretty much ready up. They have now gotten their C's up and ready. And match 2 of our best of 3 in this Group C race between McBobX and Charlieboy will be underway very shortly. Charlieboy edging out McBobX in the first run with the early lead 1-0. We're going to see if McBobX is able to recover, especially considering that rough beginning from the first seed. And we'll see if he can beat Charlieboy to make it an even matchup and force a game 3. But once again, Charlieboy, ever daunting, ever the veteran of this randomizer, is not gonna make this easy. This time we get a little bit of a flip-flop. This time Charlieboy starting in Flash and McBobX starting out Quickman. We're gonna see how our enemy selection this season is gonna fare for our runners. McBobX getting plastered by the Crusher early on in Quick. Meanwhile, a very unfortunate situation as looks like our dollar store Metroids are Buster immune. That can make some areas very dangerous later on if the enemy adds them in any given area. Meanwhile, I got a lot of Chanky makers and blockies. Well, mostly Chanky makers. Just like a blocky or two in the way. So pretty straightforward for McBobX for the most part as he goes through the force beams. Meanwhile, Charlieboy, unfortunately, either fortunately or unfortunately, whatever his mindset is, he decides to forego the E-Tank and go straight into the boss room. Hopefully this won't come back to bite him, but for right now, we got our first Robot Master sighting in Flashman's room. And it's a very interesting Woodman. Oh, God bless Bad Scissors Day. But Curses beat to this randomization of Woodman as very durable, short jump, rising leaves to make the leaf shield regenerate much faster. Charlieboy forced to take the long road for this fight. Meanwhile, Flashman, really high jumper, also durable to the Buster, but a little bit of a better shape compared to Charlieboy's fight. So Quickman stays down. Unfortunately, no items. Charlieboy got a little bit stalled, but was massively rewarded in Flash getting item 2. Bob opted to go to Bubble Man stage. Polly still feeling a little burned by the Flashman, non-Flashman stage for the last seed, opting to do Bubble Man early and not do Flash next. So we're gonna see what Bubble Man stage has in store. Meanwhile, Charlieboy going the tried and true route of pretty much doing Flash and Quick in back-to-back order. And those Buster immune Dollar Store Metroids make their appearance once again in Bubble, pretty much saying what I was talking about earlier. If they come in at any point, it could be trouble. But fortunately, 1, they are one of the least damaging enemies around, and 2, Bubble Man, even for the underwater segment, since this is a zipless tournament, so no zipping allowed. Still not too bad in terms of terrain danger, even with the spikes. Now taking care of our fishes and going straight into the Bubble Man room. Who is inside this room? And we got a Quickman sighting, Speedy Boy, but not too durable. But not too strong, easily susceptible to the Buster. There goes the Quickman down. And we get item 1 in tow for McBobX. Moving on to the next stage. Having a hard time thinking of where he wants to go. A little, well, Flashman down in a quick man's room by Charlieboy. One of the things you gotta keep in mind, you cannot be wishy-washy in where you want to go in the rando seed. Being firm in your decisions on where you want to go is pretty much going to be key in not wasting too much excess time. Time losses add up in randomizers, as you know, so you just got to be firm in your decisions and not waste too much time trying to figure out where everything is in the stage select, since Robot Master placements are random. Meanwhile, McBobX, reminder, he does not have item 3, so he's going to rely on item 1 to try to make the climbing Crashman stage a little faster. We're going to see if he takes the left side to try to do so. Meanwhile, once again, seeing familiar territory, Charlieboy is going through Bubble Man's room, Bubble Man stage, where we know Quickman awaits at the end of the stage. So as you can see, McBobX is taking a very slow climb. He does not have item 3, so he can't do item 3 strats to make this area faster. He might have a chance to make it a slightly faster if he went to the right side and did item 1 strats. Charlieboy is pretty much known for doing that particular strat, so if push comes to shove, Charlieboy may save a little bit of time on Charlieboy if his climb's a little faster. Meanwhile, that is the item 1 get after defeating Quickman in Bubble Man's room. So right now, both our runners are pretty evenish right now. As we get a Bubble Man sighting, who is a Hoggles, one of the most dangerous AIs in the game, and doesn't look like McBob has a good means of taking care of him quickly. So it looks like it's going to be a very intense damage race for McBobX as he deals with Huggles the Bubble. As Charlieboy goes into Woodman stage. So this is a very scary damage race. Does McBobX have an E-Tank? Will he pop that E-Tank? Or does he have no E-Tank, and this could be a very costly situation if that is the case. Meanwhile, Charlieboy making use of the leash shield to take care of our frienders. This is just... Keeping an eye on McBobX, this is a very intense damage race. Bubbles and Bubble Man himself does 4 units of damage. McBobX narrowly escapes with his hide intact. Not sure about his life situation, but that is a very, very rough Bubble Man to deal with when you have no weapons to really mitigate the hyper-aggressive chasing nature of that bubble. Meanwhile, we got McBobX going to Woodman, pretty much following in the heels of Charlieboy with some good old Blaze Heatniks. Fortunately, this is not a stage where forest fires are apparent, so you just get the heated music and not a heated burning forest. Anyway, bad joke attempts aside, we got Charlieboy making short work of Woodman stage, being the first one going to the Woodman boss room to see who's in there. Meanwhile, McBob is taking care of the doggos and about to go in the top of the treehouse in short order. Speaking of torching the Dab Blasted Forest, we got a Heatman sighting in Woodman's boss room. Charlieboy trying to find something to make this fight faster. Trying to even see if it's that one flash weakness, but he was busted weak the entire time, so I don't know why Charlieboy was searching for weaknesses, wasting a little bit of time. But regardless of the matter, that is Heatman down, Woodman down, and item 3 found. So pretty much Charlieboy has all the items needed to make any given stage as fast as possible. McBob will have item 3 found in a moment when he beats Heatman, but he still gotta go to Flash for that item 2. Charlieboy is gonna make plenty of use of that item 2, as we saw in a Woodman stage. So McBobX is gonna have a little bit of time to make up, as Charlieboy is just creeping up further and further away from McBobX. McBobX opted to search for a weakness first. One of the main go-tos in randomizers is almost always search for a buster weakness first, in case there's a soft weakness for any Robot Master, which McBobX was able to do on the second go-around after the air shooter failed him. So both our runners having 4 Robot Masters down, McBob finally going to Flash, where a very nasty Woodman awaits. Meanwhile, Charlieboy doing as I predicted and doing left side strats. He's gonna use item 2 to try to do some speedy climbs. He does have item 3. I would have preferred to use item 3 as opposed to item 2. Item 3 being a little bit faster, especially since you can cancel out the item 3 at any given time, thanks to the new pause buffering gimmicks that we have applied in this particular version of the randomizer. But regardless of the matter, using any items in these climbs is still faster than just climbing on the right side bare bones. So Charlieboy did make up some time on McBobX in the stage. Alright, Charlieboy finding out we got Huggles. He gonna check for weapons and finds out that Metal Blaze being a bit of a godsend. I was worried he might have died. He wouldn't have been able to take a direct hit from Bubble. Of course, if he was able to kill him while he was dying, it's still vanilla Mega Man 2 rules. You do get favor if you get a double kill in Robot Master fights, at least for the 8 Robos. Meanwhile, McBobX fighting this Woodman. This stubbornness not to take the E-Tank when you're down on health, knowing that you might be 1 hit away from death. I've seen it pretty much cost McBobX some lives and cost some time. Sometimes you cannot be this stubborn when fighting some of these bosses. Sometimes you just gotta take the tank and just go. Do not take the death, especially for a lengthy fight like Woodman, where he's shielded up and is not weak to the buster. It's those kinds of decision makers in the rando that can make or break games. In the meanwhile, we're gonna have some new information here. Both our runners going to 2 different stages here. We get our first Heatman sightings on Charlieboy's end. Meanwhile, this is the first view of Metal Man stage on McBobX's end. Charlieboy tried to use item 2 in the first goings of Heatman stage. Didn't quite see if it was completely effective, but he definitely used item 2 to skip these Yokus. So Yoku fly a couple of screens away, and we're about to see who's in Heatman's corridor. Meanwhile, we got some Joes and some Joe-looking bunnies, pretty much guarding the rest of the way of Metal Man stage. McBob using item 2 to its full effect here, as would expected. Meanwhile, we got a crash out of it, and that is a aggro crash, a very aggressive crash. This particular version of the crash fight forces Crashman to fire bombs, no matter if a crash bomb is already out, makes him very aggressive, very spammy, very laggy, a very annoying fight to deal with, but Charlieboy was able to take out Crashman easily enough. Meanwhile, we got an Airman sighting in Metal Man's room and gets plastered by air. Ooh, an unfortunate game over. That's gonna set McBobX way back. The immense contact damage of Airman doing McBobX in once again. I wish he would have taken the time to take that E-Tank. Fortunately, E-Tanks do stay on Game Over, one of the quality of life additions that's been made in the randomizer for quite a while now, but I still would have loved to see McBobX not delay or hesitate on using those E-Tanks. You can get E-Tanks later on in the game. Sometimes hoarding E-Tanks is not the best decision to go. Meanwhile, Charlieboy going through the second half of Airman stage, where Fishes and Fans are the name of the game, which unfortunately makes item 2 flying here pretty much a non-factor. Anyway, McBobX is sucking up the Game Over and doing the item 2 fly once again, going to the Airman fight in Metal, which once again it's a little bit quirky. The conveyor belts have priority over anything that Airman does. So when he tries to blow you away, just walk on the conveyors. You can slow up the air shooter shots, which allow more time for air to be seen. Anyway, we got... There we go. There's Metal Man down on McBobX's screen. It took a little bit, but fight done. But meanwhile, we have Charlieboy, one Robot Master away from the Wally stages, trying to make use of item 2. In the early goings of Metal, a strat I really don't see often, and one I'm not sure is a wise one, because there's usually a lot of enemies in the way, which makes flying through that very tight corridor makes it a little bit rough. Anyway, the first pot of air, not too bad. Blocky is making the area not as trivial, but still going on pretty straight away. If I had a little bit of a moment, I probably could have searched that music source for you. But under commentary, just kind of a little bit focused right now. Actually, we've seen things on Charlieboy's end. Let's see if I can find that track, because we are already seeing familiar territory from our runners here. But I like finding information like that. But anyway, that's an Airman down. That's a Metal down. But one runner has one Robot Master to go. Another one is already to our Wally fight, to our Wally stage. Well, we're trying to get our RDO on Charlieboy as the leader of the race. Having little bit of trouble with the tracker here, but ain't gonna worry about it too much. But anyway, we do have we got a dragon. Guess the color, the weakness, and the sprite. Once again, for sprites of the dragon, we got a vanilla sprite. We got a squinted eyes dragon. I'll tell you when we see it. We got an 80 shades dragon. We got our dragon corn. Dragon with a unicorn horn. Our oats dragon and a full-blown swag dragon. As you get those guesses in chat, for me it's gonna be, as always, a true blue dragon. Weak to the buster. Gonna be oats dragon, by the way. We see Charlieboy pretty much not having too much trouble in Wally 1, doing the final climb up, making headway towards the final stretches to get to the dragon. Wara's blocking the ladder for a little bit, making use of our flash stopper, our time stopper, which once again, thanks to our new pause mechanic, you can actually stop the time stopper's freeze while it's even active. There we go, finally got the audio transfer. And you know, it's a shade of blue, and it's Oats Dragon. I'm gonna count that. Oh! I'm taking 100% responsibility for this. It's a very light blue dragon, but I'm calling it a blue dragon. That was Buster Week. It was an Oats Dragon. I'm calling it. I'm taking it. I'm taking no discussions. I'm taking no for an answer. Meanwhile, McBobX just narrowly escaping our aggro crash. And it's finally going to the Wally stages proper. But once again, a stage back of Charlieboy here. Once again, the randomizer experience in the routing, putting Charlieboy just that one stage difference, which is all the difference in the world right now. Putting them on track for a 2-0 victory and pretty much stopping the reign of McBob's potential undefeated streak in Group C. Anyway, we got Charlieboy just finishing off Wally Stage 2. About to go to our Pico fight. We do have several sprites for the Pico units, the Pico units, but we have one that we kind of don't want to see if you're a racer. But if you're, nope, we won't be seeing it. We got a blob Pico. That is once again weak to the buster. 2 straight C's where our Pico units are weak to the buster, so very fortunate here. Not only is 2 for 2 for Pico buster weaknesses, it's back-to-back buster weaknesses in this C for the Wally stages. Once again, it's a chance occurrence that our Wally bosses can be weak to the buster. Otherwise, each and every Wally boss does have a set of potential weaknesses. For Pico, it was 3 weaknesses, with Buster being a 4th. It was just fortunate that, in this case, the Pico units was also weak to the Buster, saving time and ammo consumption. So, in the watermelon juices of Wally Stage 3, Charlieboy not getting too much resistance, just pop tops and bats. Meanwhile, McBobX about to fight our blue Oats Dragon. Does have the Buster already equipped, so this should be a very easy fight for McBobX, so he can get out of Wally 1 and on his way to Wally 2. Meanwhile, Charlieboy finishing off Watermelon Juice Stage 3. Gonna see who our Guts Tank gonna be weak to. Charlieboy being our sprite developer, adding all the sprites and backgrounds. We get to see, yes we do! We get to see one of Charlieboy's newest additions in this Bowser tank. Unfortunately, we can only fit the sprites so much. The weak spot is still the chin of the Guts tank proper. But hey, Charlieboy get to show off one of his additions. So a little bit happy for that. And while I was so enthralled by the I didn't get to see the weakness. I think it was also a Buster weakness. So that's 3 for 3 for Buster weaknesses if I'm not mistaken. And meanwhile, Charlieboy working through Wally Stage 4, and we got someone correctly guessing the music for or at least the source of the music for Wally Stage 4. So Shin Megami Tensei. Once again, using item 2 to ignore the chances of our randomized fake platforms. And about to see how dangerous the sets in the moving platform rooms are. And overall, not too dangerous. Pretty much just tellies and crabs. Our moving platform rooms being contra our runners for our 2 seeds. Meanwhile, McBobX not checking for Buster, opted to go for Metal Blades as one of the 3 other potential weaknesses. Unfortunately, is consuming a lot of Metal Blades. There are definitely weaknesses that could be better than this, but for the versatility, sure, this is fine. While probably wasting a little bit of time here, as Charlieboy is about to go for the Blue Beam fights. We do not know what the wall weakness is, and we know that the wall weakness is not the same as the turret weakness. Doing the white, this isn't checking out Charge Heat. It looks like Charge Heat is not the weak. Oh, but we find the God weakness anyway, so is he gonna screw the walls? He's gonna screw the walls. When we got God weaknesses like Leaf Shield, we don't even have to worry about the walls at all. So God bless Leaf Shield, down with Booby, and onward to our final, well, not our final stage, but to our boss rush stage. With some pretty fitting music here. With some Area 7 for Blaster Master. Or Area 7 / Final Boss. Oh, the boy's stalling for a little bit. Not sure what happened here. But I saw nothing that seems ill-advised. Well, and if there was, he stalled enough that probably would negate any kind of punishments. Because he probably wouldn't done pause if there was a zip of some sort. Once again, since this is a zipless tournament, all zips are illegal, and punishments and time docks will be added towards the end of the runs if any accrue. Anyway, our aggro crash, giving Charlieboy a little bit of fence, forcing him to pop the E-tank in. And he's more than halfway done with our refights. Now we got our Huggles. Opted to stick with the Buster right now. There we go. Finding our South Weak Metal to make the fight a little bit smoother. Meanwhile, McBobX still trucking along the rest of Wally Stage 4 here. Should have very little issues. Charlieboy may well be on sub 30 pace. It's gonna have to see how the Wally Machine fares. Honestly, I don't think he's gonna be on sub 30 pace. It's gonna be very tight here, He gonna need to find a very fast weakness for the Wily Machine here, which happens to be Buster. So Buster for both phases. While the odds of Buster has been significantly been reduced for the Wily Machine in previous updates of the Rando, it's still a thing. If it is a thing, it's weak for both phases. But yeah, it's not looking like it's gonna be sub 30 for Charlieboy, but it's still gonna be a very, very brisk seed. McBobX having a little bit of issue with the Leaf Shield. Finding that Vanilla Crash is our wall weakness, but unfortunately, due to positioning and the Leaf Shield's activation, wasn't able to get the godly kill compared to Charlieboy. Meanwhile, Capsule Alien and now it's not Buster, so we got a weakness search. It's not Vanilla. Is the second page? Crash? No, it's Charge Heat! Worst case scenario weakness. Necessarily don't want to find that as your last go-to. But fortunately, it does not seem to be too much of an issue as long as he keeps Charge Heat and doesn't fire too early uncharged. That is GG for Charlieboy with a 2-0 victory, negating McBobX's undefeated streak with official racetime.gg time of 30:51. GG to Charlieboy. And that puts Charlieboy 2-0, securing his spot in the bracket phase. And I believe we have a visitor here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, brother. What's up, man?
How you doing? Getting a little bit of echo feedback on your side here, but we'll make do. How you feeling about your runs?
I'm so sorry. Oh, you know what? Okay. Yeah. I think I gotta take it out. What's up, man? Oh, man. What a race. It was fun. Dude, so, I don't know if you're watching, like, the race chat, but, like, after I killed Boobeams, I noticed there was one missing. Did I screen wrap I mean, I'm a little tired, I'll admit. Did I screen wrap a Leaf Shield to kill the Boobeam on the other side? Is that even possible? How did I kill that bottom right Boobeam?
Yeah, it's very much possible, especially if you got the expanding Leaf Shield. The expanding Leaf Shield has that weird property, and yeah, some cases the Leaf Shield has this weird property where it horizontal wraps and you're able to destroy a turret in that way. It's a weird quirk, but it's definitely possible. So it's actually no wrongdoing. It's just a weird quirk of potential randomization of the Leaf Shield.
I was just like, hey, there's not one down there anymore. Did I kill it whenever I shot my shield the other way? Like, like I don't know. That's awesome though. You know, learn something new every day. I kind of figured it might be possible with the right weapons and stuff, but and the right circumstances, right situation. Yeah, I mean, cool. I see that even tells you that veterans can kind of surprise themselves and learn things even this far into the randomizer.
Yeah, but you really had very little issues with your C's. Both of them were very, very close to sub 30. Tell us how you felt about both those C's.
And well, that Woodman fight at the beginning of this siege in the Flashman stage, I wasn't really fond of, but other than that, I was like, man, I was debating heavily just to jump into him and take the death and start the fight over with full health, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make this rock. It'll be okay. So that was a thought. Man, I want to say there was a situation in Seed 1 that I was thinking about that I wanted to touch on, but I can't recall it currently.
Yeah, that particular one, man, I was a little bit afraid for you because I think you didn't you. It was the seed where you did not have an E tank and you were kind of forced down. So it was literally maybe one hit and you might have to do that whole fight over, which probably could have made or broken the race. But yeah, you were able to recover. It took some time, but you were able to take out that what take out that wood man and move on. Still were able to win the race in spite of. Speaking of races, McBobX has just now finished off the Waller machine. Wasn't able to check for Buster. One of the few times that Buster was weak for that Waller machine. So McBobX unfortunately kind of have a little bit of a time waste, but still opted to finish off the seed. Once again, we like to encourage our runners to finish seeds if they so feel like it. Whatever choice they may choose, whether they want to continue the race or forfeit to keep the match rolling, it's all on them and we are equally as accepting. Meanwhile, McBobX is going to be taking on that final Wally capsule alien. Finding out that charge heat is the weakness. We're gonna see if he finds it quicker than Charlieboy did, who pretty much last rode it.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Whenever the heat charge takes that long to charge, I hate this. It's not, well, I mean, I don't hate it, but I mean, it just feels so slow. It would definitely be a PB killer for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Never get a PB again in this. I get on pace sometimes, but man, it's just like man, it's hard to even hit sub 30 nowadays. I don't know. Sometimes for certain people.
Yeah, it looks like
on the seed, I guess. But.
Yeah, it looked like the curse of the atomic fire kind of messed McBobX up. He really didn't fully charge that heat, so when he fired it, it did nothing. So I'm assuming he fired a half charge, assuming it was a full charge, because it didn't damage the alien. So he wound up doing the weakness search just now. You hate to see it. So I'm pretty sure he's confused on what the potential weakness for the Wily capsule is. Our alien here needs to fully charge that heat. But yeah, the random charge time for heat is pretty annoying, as you already said.
Yeah, it sure can be. I imagine if that was the weakness, like I said, I probably wouldn't get a PB. Because yeah, it's just so slow.
Yep, McBobX finally figuring out that the heat he fired was not completely charged, and now it should be done a little soon. One more hit, and that is GG for McBobX, finishing with a time of 37 minutes and 30 seconds. But once again, it's still all you, Charlieboy. Pretty much putting an end to McBobX undefeated reign in Group C. Not only that, securing your place in the brackets with 2 victories. How you feeling moving on as we got McBobX waiting in the booth? First off, we get Charlieboy's opinion on his victory, and then we'll welcome McBobX proper.
Hey, yeah, no, I mean, like I was saying, you know, good games to McBobX, and good games. Thanks for the GGs in chat, guys. Much appreciated. I mean, yeah, you know, going for the 2-peat. I haven't had the most time to practice this year, so that, if anything holds me back, it's gonna be that. But other than that, man, I mean, yeah, I'm feeling pretty strong, pretty confident going in. You know, shooting for the dub for the whole tournament. You know, but if I can't get that, then hopefully at least top 3, something. Like, man, last year in the Zipless tournament, that wasn't exactly that's the classic Charlieboy way to go out, or Charlieboy way to go out, is just you know, get stuck in a wall somewhere.
And meanwhile, welcome McBobX Congratulations for finishing very well play, strong effort, but Charlie Boy knocked you off your undefeated pedestal, but fortunately, you still have enough wins. You're already done all your three races, and you're pretty much guaranteed a spot in the brackets. But how tell us about your seeds? You had a couple of rough goings there between these two seeds.
True. Today, um, kind of a surprise, I'd say, at the start, at least for first seed. The fact that I didn't, I went to Flashman, I always, go to it, but I never expected that I would be, quote unquote, soft locked. You know, the fact that, the fan enemies are, cannot be damaged, I'd say, with Buster, and you face them multiple times, not to mention that they do really big damage, so you cannot get past to it. That hindered me so much. That kind of was about a 1 minute, close to a minute of a time loss if I didn't reset as early as possible. But yeah, for the most part, traveling and, going through the stages was smooth for both seeds. Second seed, I don't know, but I had a really rough time with boss fights. I don't know what happened, but I didn't really have an easy time dealing with bosses. So if you notice, in second seed, all of my deaths were in fights, which means that something is wrong in there with my weapon decision, with my fighting style, maybe trying to deal with bosses and stuff. So yeah, I think those are the major things that I've seen. Other than that, they were solid paces. I mean, solid seeds, I'd say. There were really easy stuff there, something like Buster. I think Seed 1 having a Buster on Alien was really something really I liked. But yeah, overall, it's an awesome it was good seeds. It just needed a little bit of kind of decision wise thinking, in terms of how to deal with bosses.
Yeah, I noticed that, and one of the things that I mentioned during the race, you tend to hoard your E tanks quite a bit when you probably could have popped one in and kind of saved your bacon on multiple chances. One of the things that we as randomizer veterans like to do, we do not take chances and like to forego our E tanks. Anytime we do that, that's kind of a side of greed, maybe some arrogance. You can make of that what you will, but the fact that if you have E-tanks in store, sometimes it's better to just pop the E-tank and just get out of that situation, and because there are potential E-tanks later on in the game, so pop the E-tank, get going, move on. As for the Flashman situation, yeah, those can be some very, very rough situations, especially for those high damaging enemies that are Buster immune. You already mentioned the fan fiends. Joe Mex could be a situation. Blockies could be a situation. Those, of course, but that's just unfortunate. That's just the side effect of the randomizer being a randomizer. And I think that kind of got you mentally rattled, because in the second seed, you took some time before going to Flash's stage. I know
Yeah,
I took immediate notice of that.
yeah, I was it's better to have Flash late than having it early. Even though it would be beneficial if I went to it early. It's a very easy stage, regardless. It's just quick. You go to it really quick, and it does it kind of makes your pace a bit boosted a bit, if I can say that, right off the bat. But yeah, it's better to delay it a bit so we can be in such a situation, at least have enough so we face something like that perceived thing. You have a way to answer it, and I think I will follow. Maybe that affected heavily in my second seed. That maybe affected heavily my gameplay and. In bosses and stuff. I don't know. I just have a feeling, but probably. But just it is what it is. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that probably is the best way to say it. But yeah, Charlie Boy knocked you for a loop. Now you're no longer undefeated, but like I said, both of y'all are basically guaranteed to go to the brackets So
Yeah.
both of y'all are relatively safe, while even though they haven't played yet, and they still got a few races to go. Gaming Wild Dad and Sinister Sama are both eliminated as a result, but they still have races to go, so they do have pride on the line to get a couple of wins on the not get a couple of win well a couple or a win on their notches. But
Yeah.
right now it's still y'all two's game. If y'all have pretty much anything left to say before we pretty much just move on and just shut this thing down, feel free to do so.
Yeah, I mean, final thing, I would say thanks everyone. Thanks for hosting. Thanks for the tournament, Charlieboy. Thanks for hosting, thanks for commentating, I'd say, Creed. Much appreciated. Thanks for watching. And final thing, and I'm happy that there are no civilian blocks in Wily 2. That's actually something I'm really happy with. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for everything. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, good games, McBobX. Like I
And
said,
GG.
yeah,
Forgot to
like-
say GG.
No, for sure. Yeah, man. GG. You know, just want to encourage you guys that are in chat. You know, pick this up. It's an awesome game. It's fun. Whether you're a normal zipless runner, difficult zipless runner, if you like zips, etc., etc. We mostly have these tournaments every year. So, what better time than now to like get into it while you're watching some of these guys play the game, you know, kind of learn off of them this year right now. So maybe if you want to join next year, if assuming we have one, which I think we will, probably, I don't know, depending on you know, how many people are interested and all that good stuff, but and if we get invited back or whatever. But yeah, so you know, get into it. Other than that, you know, thanks Speedgaming for having us again. Yeah, good games, and it was fun. Guess I'll see you guys on the next one.
Likewise, I think next one for me would be brackets. So I'll see you there. So I'm gonna have a long time to kind of practice more, I'd
Well,
say.
I did want to mention, I created a stat sheet that I posted in the tournament Discord from years past and whatnot to
Cool.
you know, kind of keep tabs on wins and losses and all that type stuff. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, do it. And that also, like, I mean, don't just, oh man, I didn't make the bracket stage, you know, whatever. Don't just throw your matches is what I'm trying to say, because it's gonna involve, it'll hurt your stats, even though stats don't mean nothing. It's just for, like, you know, just for the community interest or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, you know, don't throw your matches. Have fun. Play the game. Have fun. I can't.
Sure.
stress
I mean,
it
that's
enough.
that's the goal.
But yeah, big shout outs to Creep for commentating. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace out.
Well said to you, both our runners. Once again, congratulations to Charlieboy securing his spot in the brackets by defeating McBobX, who's no longer undefeated, but once again also make it to the bracket rounds in Group C. So, of course, we still got plenty of randomizer action to go throughout the course of this week. We have one immediately tomorrow night. Well, of course, time zone notwithstanding, but August 25th, 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight, we do have Siberian Bull 9 going against Matt Philly. On the next day, August the 26th, we got a bit of a doubleheader. We got one at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight between 2% Chungus and Snape. And a few hours afterwards, we have Charlieboy, who just now raced, going against Gaming Wild Dad at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight. Then the following Sunday, August 27th, we got one more doubleheader case where we got the conclusion of Gaming Wild Dad and Sinister Sama, their rubber match from their match they had earlier in the tournament. They're currently 1-1. This would be the rubber match to determine who wins that one. Once again, that'd be Sunday 27th, 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight. And following that will be On 8 p.m. Eastern on that same day will be Treble Star versus Guy Next Door. So once again, a lot of randomizer Mega Man 2 Rando tournament races abound in the group phases. On our way to the bracket phase, once again, stay tuned to the Speed Gaming chain of channels on Twitch. Keep eyes on the schedules for which channels they are going to be on. And for that, once again, thanks to Speed Gaming for once again letting us be showcased, had the randomizer showcase for Speed Gaming Live 2023. Once again, since this is a Speed Gaming Live event, there is a prize pool in which if you choose to donate and get it all stacked up, the bonus pot will add up for the next ring of total prize pool base prize pool standing. So if you feel free to want to help us out, feel free to do so. Of course, that's not required. Only do so if you feel that you want to. But anyway, also thanks to those that have been involved in the randomizer. Of course, Duckfist being the originator and creative of the randomizer, and everyone that has helped out in the randomizer, of course, is on this build. Charlieboy being one of them for sprite development. Of course, a lot gone into music, coding. You know who you are. I'm gonna go in deep into that. But with that pretty much does it for this particular race. This is your boy LV Cree, wishing you a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you may be. Stay tuned for the next race whenever it gets scheduled on Speed Gaming, and take good care of yourselves. Bye bye.